Good morning, everybody. This morning, in the second half of this reading wrap-up, I am going to be wrapping up the February reading choices that I made for the TBR for Friends and Gilmore Girls. The first book I wanted to talk about is Us in Ruins by Rachel Moore. This is a historical fiction book that is a romance that is set in Pompeii, Italy. This book is getting 5 stars for the romance buildup in the Italian setting. And the cover art of this book is simply beautiful. I think that this girl on the cover, the main character's name in this book is Margot. I think she looks like Alexis Bledel in the later seasons of Gilmore Girls. The next book is called Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck. When I was looking through book recommendations based on Gilmore Girls characters on Instagram, this book came up for Lorelai, and it's about it's set in a fictional town called Saint Cyprian, which is very similar to which seems to me to be very similar to Salem, Massachusetts. And our main character's name is Emerson Wilde, and she discovers that she's a witch, and she has to fight off all of the evil creatures that are invading the town. I loved this book. It was an adventure for sure. This book is getting 4.5 stars. The next book is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. This is the first book in the series with Something Wild and Wonderful, and got to get the girl. So I can say now that I have completed this series that it's going to be 4.5 stars. I loved all the romantic buildup in all of these romances between the couples. My favorite couple in Anita Kelly's books is the couple, hang on. Alexi, my favorite couple from Anita Kelly's books is Alexi and Ben from Something Wild and Wonderful. So this book is a romantic comedy that takes place on the set of a cooking show. Our main protagonists are Dahlia and London, and I just loved their chemistry. Anita Kelly writes really like Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry. Anita Kelly is really good at writing banter, and I loved the buildup between London and Dahlia. This book is getting 4 stars, and the Gilmore Girls character this book fits is Suki. The next book was a reread. This was one of my 5-star reads from last year, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. This is about a orc who retires from fighting and opens a bakery, a coffee shop that's similar to like Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. And it's a romance mixed with food, and it's about somebody starting their own business. And I just loved how creative this setting is. It's like the monsters of fantasy books opening their own coffee shop and falling in love. So I gave this book 5 stars last year. That rating is not changing. The next book that I read for my Gilmore Girls and Friends TBR for this month is Not Here to Be Liked. So when I was looking up for books that describe Gilmore Girls characters, this book came up for Paris, and I totally agree. This is about a high-strung high school girl who's the editors of her school newspaper, whose job gets taken over by somebody else on the newspaper, and she basically writes a essay about the patriarchy that makes the rest of the female school community, rise up in support of how she was unfairly forced out of her position at the newspaper. And I just this is my first book by this author, Michelle Quach, and I really enjoyed her writing style. And this character definitely reminds me of Paris Geller. I give this book 4.5 stars. The next book that I reread for my Friends and Gilmore Girls TBR is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I am going to tier rank the Emily Henry book couples in April once her latest book is released. But this book is about Nora and Libby, and they go to a small town in North Carolina that's very similar to Stars Hollow to go on vacation before Libby gives birth to her baby. And she meets up with Charlie Lastra. So Nora is a book publisher from New York City who's like very set in her ways about how she edits her books and what kind of books she publishes. And Charlie is one of her editors, and they have a good enemies to lovers buildup in their relationship, which I really enjoyed reading about. The next book I'm reading for the Gilmore Girls and Friends TBR is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this book this book has nothing really to do with Friends or Gilmore Girls. It's more connected to Bridget Jones from Bridget Jones' Diary. One of the books that Kathleen and I are going to be reading in May is Pride and Prejudice. And Bridget Jones' Diary is a 1990s retelling of Pride and Prejudice that stars Hugh Grant and Renee Zellweger. So we are going to watch the Pride and Prejudice movie, watch the Bridget Jones' Diary movie, and compare both. And then we're going to be reading this book, which describes Bridget Jones. I have no idea which character is supposed to describe Bridget Jones. Probably Nina, I'm thinking. And then the book that we're going to read for Mr. Darcy is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. The next book that is on the From Manhattan to Stars Hollow's TBR is The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Laurie Gilmore. This is the second book in the Dream Harbor series. So this town is equivalent to Stars Hollow, but instead of being set in Connecticut, it is set in Ontario, Canada. The first two books that I've read in this series are book number 1, which is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I gave 4.5 stars to, and The Christmas Tree Farm, which I gave 3 stars to. Book 4 is coming out in a couple of weeks. It's called The Strawberry Patch Pancake House. So I am definitely going to be picking that up at the library once it comes out. It's going to be on my March TBR. I just started this book yesterday, and I am on page 73. The final book on our Manhattan to Stars Hollow TBR is Marley and Me by John Grogan. When we started our journey of watching movies with Friends characters in it last year, one of the movies we really, really loved was Marley and Me with Jennifer Aniston and Owen Wilson. I personally feel it is one of Jennifer Aniston's best movie roles, one of my favorite movie characters that she has played, besides Ashley Spitz from Murder Mystery. and Beth from He's Just Not That Into You. So this book is about a newly married couple named John and Jenny who adopt a dog. They name him Marley. It's about how their family grows and how the dog grows with them. And I can't wait to watch the movie again and compare it to the book. I am currently on chapter 10, page 81. Thank you for tuning in. My next reading update video will probably be out in 2 weeks, and Matt and I will be doing our February entertainment review wrap-up. Next week, that video will be out on his channel on the 8th. And as far as the podcast that me and Kathleen are doing for From Manhattan to Stars Hollow TBR, our first episode is going to be filmed at Double House on March 9th. Episode 2, which will be our February, March, and April reviews, will be out on May 1st, and in that video we will be reviewing Book Lovers, Crying in H Mart, Marley and Me, Romeo and Juliet, and The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. So you all have such great things to look forward to coming up on this channel and Matt's channel. And regarding the future of this blog, Matt and I are starting our job at Vertical Harvest in May, and we have had a discussion about where this channel will go once we start our job. And I think the best way we can combat our busy schedule to balance things out is combine multi-months together in one review video. So after next weekend's video for the February wrap-up, our next entertainment wrap-up video will probably not be out until the beginning of May, and we will review March, April, and May plays, movies, and books that we have consumed. And then our summer entertainment review video will be out at the end of August, around Labor Day. That is also around the same time when the next episode of the Manhattan to Stars Hollows TBR podcast with Kathleen will be out, and we might try to see if we can combine those two videos together for a longer form video so we can talk about everything all at once. So thank you for tuning in. Have a good weekend.